of mentoring. I mentioned to you that we are going to be looking at the crime of carjacking. And Zaccheus was so gracious to share his story with us. So I'm going to let Zaccheus tell you a bit about himself, a bit of his background, and then we're going to work with what he shares with us to bring information to you so that it can change your life.
Well, my name is Zaccheus Smith. I'm from Miami, Florida. You know, I was raised up around the Liberty City area of Miami, Florida, and I have family that's from the Opelika area of Miami, Florida. So just as I was raised up, you know, I had kind of a double childhood. I stayed with my mom from the beginning of my life. Then as I progressed in life, I moved on with my mom, which is my second mom. You know, she's my maternal aunt.
Some of the things that impede our family is the structure of a family. Consistency is vital. Consistency. One thing that I've noticed when you were describing your childhood as you were growing up, it was not consistent. You spend some years with your mom, and then you spend some years with your grandmother. The years with your grandmother was very structured. You knew that somebody cared. There was a loving atmosphere in the house. There was the right attention poured on you. There was love there presented to you. It was everything according to what a child needed to develop properly. However, once that crumbled and crashed around you, you were like, okay, so my only hope is gone now.
Like a fish out of water.
Right, a fish out of water. So you went back to unstructured again, which means that the consistency. In our households today, we still have inconsistencies when we handle our children. We put them on a punishment. We say you're going to be on a punishment for a week. By the second day, we're off the punishment. There's no consistency. And children and kids, especially young people, are looking for you to have consistency in their lives.
Absolutely.
So when a father is not in the household, or when a mother, or when there's a single father or a single parent, and now the way society has us doing now, we have to work, and that one single parent is the breadwinner of the household, so they can't be there all the time. So therefore, that child is running and doing whatever they need to do when the parents are at work. It's a lot of stuff that's going on with our family structure that has to be fixed. However, in Zaccheus' situation here, it was to the point that he needed a male figure to sit down with him and say, hey son, this is what you should be thinking at this point in time now.
This is how it should
When
go.
he said to me, and spoke volumes when he said identity crisis. Whoa.
Yes.
Huge thing, identity crisis. And we wonder now why most of our young girls are dressing like boys and some of our boys are dressing like girls.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that's going on that I don't know my identity.
Yes.
You know, and he made it perfectly clear.
Absolutely. Searching for answers that should be right there.
His mom is displaying this type of behavior in front of him, and then there's no household father in the house either.
Right.
That's a double whammy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and one of the things that Zach said also, I just love calling you Zach. So warm. Yes, that Zach said is that in telling his story is that after his grandmother died, he went back to his mom. This is the problem that we are facing, and Johnie, you have this Chrysalis home for change, which I'm going to allow you to speak about, but I just want to. This is a perfect segue here to bring this in. That he went back to something that was not healthy. He went back to the only thing that he had for him. He went back to a situation that was unhealthy, that was unstructured, and so this is like the problem that we find in with youth who have been incarcerated. They come back out, and I'm going to let you speak to that issue. Back to a community that wasn't healthy for them in the first place, back to a place where they don't have any models for any kind of sensible work and employment, and it says the way that you do it is that you're going to sell drugs. So we're talking about this now because Zach, at age 16 got himself involved in a carjacking, and so he got incarcerated for carjacking and burglary. Now, I'm going to just let you speak to this and speak about Chrysalis House and how this, between you and Zach, how this has been helping him. But let's just inform you, because we always want to make sure that we're educating you as we are going along on different levels. Carjacking is defined by the the U.S. Justice Department as what? A crime of, whether it's completed or attempted burglary, a robbery of a motor vehicle by someone, by a stranger. So you don't know the person, you have broken into their car, or you have just waited for them to be sort of unaware, or you set them up. Like right now, the latest thing is that we say to beware of, people are putting things on the back of your windshield, the back window of your car. So when you get into your car, you realize that you cannot see, especially if you're in a situation where you have to reverse out of a parking spot. You cannot see. So you get out, your car is running, you open the door, you go outside to take the paper, and you're carjacked. Right? Sometimes people figure they're being safe. They say, I've got my computer in my car and I don't want to leave it in the car. So when I get to where I'm going, I am going to get out and put it in the trunk of my car and lock the trunk. Well, before you could do that, you're carjacked.
Right.
You see, so when they make it, so around in 1992, 96 is when carjacking became very, very, very prominent. Again, it was raising on the radar. And carjackings began in Detroit.
Right.
Began in the city of Detroit, and now, I mean, it has really populated, infiltrated and populated all of the United States and all over the world. And I believe that happened because, of all places, Detroit, Michigan.
Right.
The car capital, the motor city of the United States. It began. And and one of the things that might have triggered it is when they made it more difficult to really put things into your car and pull. They had the knobs in the car that you would depress to lock the car, and those were easy to hook with something and pull it up.
Right.
Or when and so now they couldn't get into the car, and then people began to have codes, computerized codes for their cars.
Right.
And so they couldn't get into the cars, and so now they're going to wait until it's open. They're going to wait until you're unaware, but I'm going to get into your vehicle. And sometimes we may think that it's older folks that are being carjacked. No, young people are being carjacked as well. And for some reason, there's the income level below 35,000. People who are making 50,000 and above are not the ones that are getting carjacked. And so it might be because of course, where those of us who are making 35,000 and less, where we are parking our cars, the neighborhoods in which we live, make us more susceptible to carjacking. So at age 16, Zach committed a carjacking and ended up imprisoned. And this is what brought him into contact with Johnny Douglas. And I want Johnny to tell us about Chrysalis House and let them share their story and their relationship with you.
Well, Chrysalis started in 2010. Actually, I wanted to design a program. I started off designing a program to mentor young men. So Chrysalis came a little bit after that. The first part of my decision was to do this was I am a new creation. So I'm a new creation. I wanted to create an atmosphere to mentor young men. But then I thought about this thing, and I was sitting on the television. I was looking at the news, and I'm a news buff, CNN and all of those news, and I'm sitting here watching this, and I'm like, wow, it's bad that I'm sitting here and I'm watching all these young men being taken to jail, and I feel nothing for this. There's something wrong with me that I don't feel anything for this. I should be able to feel their pain, what's going on with them. Well, at church, when we have people join our church and they go in the back for prayer, about maybe 2 out of 5 of them would say to me, Minister Douglas, can you help me? And I'll say, what is your problem? How can maybe I can help you. The thing they would tell me is that I just got out. I can't find a job and I have no place to live. And I says, wow. I says, in our community, as many churches as we have, as many people we have in those churches, why don't we have a program set up for this? I'm never one to sit on my feet and wait for somebody else to do something. I'll do it if it needs to be done. And that's how Chrysalis came about, when we wanted to make sure that we have housing available. We want to make sure we have educational development available. We want to make sure that we have contacts with networking for them. We want to make sure that because employers are not willing to hire them, start their own business, an entrepreneurship program. So we have all those things available for these young men that can help them get on their feet. And also, the most important thing is the holistic look at how we approach them. We want them to become a total man when they come out. When they leave our program, we want them to be a total man with a purpose in life and a positive direction to assimilate back into society. So society have to see something different in these young men. And so when they go out to jobs interviews, we want to train them for job interviews. We want to train them how to use a computer, how to dress for a job, how to do an interview. We're going to follow that interview up and find out what happened, what could they have done better in this interview. We're with these guys to the end. And that's what Chrysalis House is about. It's a housing and development program where we find places for them to live, jobs for them to have, and develop them and gain the whole social structure now.
All right. What I want you to share with the viewing audience is some of the statistics, some of the challenges with regards to employment after reinsertion into the challenges of reinsertion, because if you're reinserted in the wrong environment, you're going to have problems.
Right.
This is just like Zach going back from his grandmother to his mother. Wrong type of insertion led him, after 7 years of proper nurturing with a grandmother and aunt, it took only 2 years living with a mother that was out of control and out of order to destroy something that for 7 years was healthy and positive.
And here it is. Every year, over 600,000 people are released from prison. Every year. And once they go out, the biggest thing for prisoners and ex-offenders is finding a job. They go back to the neighborhoods in which they came from.
Yeah.
When they go back to those neighborhoods in which they come from, because they have no employment, because there's no means of making a living for themselves, they go back to what they know.
Yeah.
And so they're right back in that environment. So what we do at Chrysalis is we take them out of that environment.
But what do you do? How do you get in touch with someone like Zach?
Well, how do we get in contact? We go to prisons when they have prison days where they have different businesses come out and different organizations come out for help. 6 months after prison, before prison is released from jail, we go in and we have a conversation with them and we let them know that we're here for you.
So churches, organizations hear that there is some work that you have to do. One of the things that I find, churches have prison ministries where you go in to visit people while they're in prison. Mm-hmm. But the work to prepare them for reinsertion into the community and to reduce the rate of recidivism, where they come back out and they're repeat offenders and they end up back in prison, and then we say, praise the Lord, we are doing a good job because we have a group that go into prison. The thing is, prison ministries, you want to put yourself out of work. You need to put yourself out of work because you want to empty the prisons. And the way that you do that is that the reinsertion has to be the right type of reinsertion, but the reinsertion must begin while they are still inside the walls of the prison. We have to begin to look at that.
Education is the key. 70% of ex-offenders are high school dropouts. They have not finished school. So then we look at the employment and the employer. Some of the ex-offenders, when they come out, don't even meet the basic criteria to be employed. So even if an employer has a job for them, they're not even equipped to do that. And there are companies out there who are hiring ex-offenders. They want to hire them.
All right, and we're going to share that with you, because you're going to see how the lack of education, miseducation, or undereducation really significantly affects, first of all, the fact that the person ends up committing crime, and then the ability to function, come back out of prison, and try to do something with their lives. We're going to see why so many people are functionally illiterate. They can read, but not with understanding.